Hi, and welcome to another video by Get It Done Home Repairs. Today we're going to be changing a light fixture. We're going to go from the older style, which as you can see is up here, which is still current, but we're going to change the light to a more modern style, such as this. This will actually be, and this is adjustable whatever length you want, but we will get back into that shortly. And as you can see, the length can be adjusted as well. So we're going to put this down for now. I'm going to show you what tools you're going to need, and then we're going to take that light fixture down. As you can see, I do have my helper here with me today. She's going to be supervising and making sure everything goes nice and smooth. Okay, this is an example of what kind of tools you're going to need. We're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver. We're going to need a regular flathead screwdriver. We're going to need a pair of pliers to actually cut the wiring and to splice to take the insulation off of it. And of course, we are going to check with a tester such as this to make sure that we have no power up in the box that we're going to be working on. Now, obviously, we know that the light itself, that the power is off on the light because the light is not lit. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to take it down, which is fairly easy. You just hold the globe itself, and on the back sides here, there's a very small little screw. You unscrew it a little bit, not too far, just a little bit, and then there's 3 of them on here, on this particular one. So we're going to loosen all 3 of them so that we can actually take the globe down. We're going to take our light bulb out. Now, like I said, we know there's no power here because the bulb is not lit, but I'm going to show you how to test it with a test light just to make sure. Okay, now if you look up underneath the bottom right here, there's actually 2 small screws right here, and you can see that these holes are slotted. So what we're going to do is we're going to loosen up these screws right here, this one, and this one. Okay, and now you can see this is stuck to the ceiling. You can just tap it, and it breaks the paint loose on there, and then we just take it out like this. Now, up on top here, you're going to notice that there's actually wiring. The wires are in here. You'll have one that's black, and you'll have one that's white. The black is the power line, and the white is the neutral or the return. So we're going to take this cap off. Now we know there's no power because the light's not lit. Take that off like that, and we'll take this off as well. Now, if you were not sure if there's any power up inside here, you would take your test light such as this, and you would touch it to your black and your white wire, and if there was power in here, this light would light up. Okay. Now, if you're not sure if there's power in there, there's lots of different test lights you can buy. This one is small and compact. I like using this because it fits right in my pocket. All right, if you're not sure if it has power, you're going to touch it on the black, and you touch it on the white, and as long as it doesn't light up, you know there's no power inside there. All right, so now we know there's no power, so these wires are safe to touch without any kind of a shock at all. All right, now we're going to take these out. Let me grab the new light, and then we're going to clean up this area right here, and then we'll put the whole light back together. Okay, my assistant here is going to move out of the shot because you have the wrong end in the film here. But this is the new light fixture that we're going to be putting up. Not that I'm pushing one light fixture or another, but this happens to be the one that I'm actually using for this project here. All right, so what I like about this one here is that this is not a fixed metal tube. As you can see, it's the rubber insulation, so you can adjust the height as you want to. Now I did install another light on the other end, And so I know how long I want this cable here. So what you do is loosen up this nut right on the bottom here, and you can pull your cable through, just like this. All right, until we get to the length that we want. Now I know, like I said, I did do this on the other light, so I know that this is the amount of cable that I want to cut off, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut the cable off, and then I'm going to show you how to strip the wires so that you can put the wires back on. So we're just going to hold it here. I'm going to measure the length. And then we're just going to cut the wire off right here, just like that. And then this wire is now trash. We're going to take, now after we have it cut off, we know we need to have the wires exposed like this, the black and the white wire. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a razor blade or a utility knife or whatever you have, and we're going to cut back on the insulation. Now I will tell you this, when you strip the insulation, and you're going to try to strip it like this, be very careful, don't strip it like this, because you could possibly damage the wires like this that are inside there. You don't want to strip off the insulation on these wires, you just want to strip off the outside insulation on this one. So what you're going to do is you want to take your wire. Now, you could lay it down on the table or wherever. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, so let's do it on something. Okay, so we just take this, lay it down like this, take your razor blade, put it in the wire like this, and just strip the wire back just like that. That exposes the wires. I am going to strip it back a little bit further, being careful you don't cut yourself. I have everybody here today trying to give me a hand doing this project. Okay, now we have our two black wires, the black wire and the white wire, which we're going to use. This insulation here, we can take this off because we don't need it. So we're going to cut very, very little of the rubber. We're not going to cut it in deep. We're just going to score the rubber, and then you'll take it and break it right off. So this way you don't damage the wires underneath there. This stuff we're going to remove. This is just insulation or to coat the wires, so we're going to take these off just like that. Now we need to do, you remember how the ends were stripped back like this? We need to strip these ends back as well. Now what we're going to do is you're going to take a wire, and you can see in wire cutters here, there's different thicknesses of the wire go through there. One thing you do not want to do is you don't want to strip off any of the copper wire. You want to make sure all of this copper remains and just the rubber comes off. So we're going to take our cutters like this, put it on the wire. We're going to, like this, and then we pull off. So you see, you just have just the wire insulation that comes off, and the wire itself remains. We'll do the exact same thing on here. Just like that. And again, you can see no wire came off, just the insulation. Now, this is only one example of wire strippers. If you had to, you can use a utility knife. You can use a razor blade. You just have to be extremely careful. But a cheap investment is to get a pair of wire strippers. They're really not that expensive. Then you grab your wire. You hold your wire in your one hand. You grab the other part of the copper wire, and you twist it until it's one solid strand like that. Do the exact same thing here, twist it. Okay, now this is pretty much ready to go up the way it is, but we're going to stop with the wiring right now, and we're going to talk about this bracket right here. We need to take that bracket off, so we're going to take our Phillips head screwdriver. Now remember how the bracket is situated? I'll show you when we take it off. Don't lose these because you're going to need them. Now we're going to take that bracket out. Now you see how that bracket came off? It was mounted like this. We need to put this bracket up in the ceiling just the way this is here so that we can mount the light fixture to it. So we did open up the package and it came with the new screws, and it also came with the new wire and nuts. So let's go up and we'll put this back into the box up on the ceiling. So let's do that. Okay, so now I know that the power is off here, but you always want to treat the wires in your house as if the power is always on. So always test it to make sure, and you can see that that light there is not lit. Do me a favor, click the light on for a second. That's what it will look like. If it has power, that's what the light will look like. So now we're going to turn the light off and then we'll continue. All right, so now we know that there's no power in these wires. So this tester we're finished with right now. We're just going to drop that on the ground. We're going to remove this screw and this screw because these are a little bit longer. This was for the previous light fixture, so we're going to take these out. Okay, the screws that we take out are always the ones that came with the fixture, and the ones that are previously in there. You can see there's a big difference in the height. That's why we're taking out the screws that they used to be there, and we're using the ones that they had that belong in there now. These will be a little bit too long, and this won't tighten up correctly, so we're going to discard these. We do know that they are the same size. We measured them to make sure, because sometimes you'll find the screws are different screws. So that we're not going to use. Now, every wire in a house always has a ground, and this is the ground for this particular light. It's grounded right up and through here. So we are going to use the ground, of course, and we're going to connect that up first before we put this bracket back on. So the way we do that is we're going to loosen this up right here, which actually was loose already. And then we're going to take our wire. We're going to pull this out, just like that. We're going to attach this wire on here like this, and we're going to wrap it. That. Okay, I am going to change the way that this one was actually grounded because I want to make sure we have a good ground on the new fixture as well. Instead of just wrapping the wire around it, we're going to use a wire nut to secure it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this wire like this, and we're going to bring it in underneath there, and we're going to put it underneath that screw so that we have a good... Okay, so now we have that. Ground wire is connected onto our bracket. We're going to take this and go underneath here like this, and now we're going to tighten up our ground screw back underneath here. So we still have our house wiring connected to its ground like this, and then we actually have our bracket connected in on the pigtail end of it over here so that we have a ground now on the bracket. All right, we're going to take this and we're going to bend this up out of the way like that. We're going to take our wires and pull them like this, and now we're going to put our new bracket on like this with our new screws. Okay, we're going to catch the screw in here by hand for now, just like that. And then we're going to do the exact same thing over here, only by hand right now. We're not going to tighten either one yet. All right, now that we have both of them caught, now we can snug them down. You don't have to go real tight. We're just going to make it snug against the ceiling. All right, then we're just going to snug it down like that and like that. Like I said, they don't have to be real tight. Okay, now, so now this bracket now, these are plastic boxes in the ceiling. The only way we get the ground into this bracket here is by connecting up that wire from the ground on the house. So now this bracket is grounded, and this is your neutral, and this one is your power feed. Black is always your power coming in, and the white is your neutral. All right, so now let's grab our light fixture and we'll reconnect it up there. All right, now the next thing we're going to do is before we go up and we hang our light fixture up on top, we're going to measure the length that we want this to stick down. Now I know that the length I want this is 17 inches because that's what I put the other light fixture for. But remember what I told you, that this is adjustable up and down, so we can adjust this to any length we want. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put the globe on it, and then we'll measure the length of it. All right, the globe just goes over the top, just like this. And then we take this nut here, and you just turn it on and snug the nut in place so that the globe now stays on. Okay, this now we're just going to lay this out, and now we know that I want it from the bottom of the globe to the top where it goes on the ceiling. I want it 17 inches. Now we loosened up this lock nut right here, so that way it's actually able to slide. We're going to measure the length of it, and it's slightly long. It's at 18, so we're just going to slide it down just a little bit, and then we'll measure it one more time. Okay, and that's 17. So now what we do is we just turn this nut here, and that'll lock the length so that it won't pull out when we put it up on the ceiling. So we're going to snug this down. And now the length is set, and it won't go longer, shorter, whatever. Check our length one more time. 17 inches. So this is now set, and it won't get any longer or any shorter. So, all right, let's go up on the ceiling, and we'll put this back together. Now, remember the two nuts that we previously took out? We're going to need these when we put it back together. So, all right, let's go back up top and we'll put it back together. Okay, now we're going to take our wires, and we're going to put them through this hole right here, because that's where we need to have our wiring come through. So we're going to come up around this way, and we're going to pull our wires like this. Okay, now we're going to take our wires, we're going to wrap it around the other black wire, black to black, remember, and now we're going to rotate this black wire from the light fixture around the one that is from the house. Take a wire nut, and you're going to screw it clockwise to tighten it up, and we're going to screw it until it gets tight. After you have the wire nut tight, take your wires and give it a pull to make sure that it's a nice tight connection. I've seen them already where the nut tightens up, but yet the wire is not tight. So make sure you have that tight. Next thing we're going to do now is we're going to put our white wire onto our white house wiring. Again, screw it clockwise. Put our wire nut on also clockwise. Screw as tight as you can by hand. And then we're going to check our wires again to make sure that they're tight, which they are. All right, now Next thing we're going to do is we're going to hold our light fixture. We're just going to put that wire up in here for now. We're going to push the house wiring back into up into the box in the ceiling, like that. And now we're going to push up the wire. I left a little excess wire for just in case we ever have to do anything in the future, like this. Push it through. We're going to line up the screws on the side. We have the one screw caught by hand, and we're not going to tighten the other. We're not going to tighten it all the way yet, because we want to make sure that this side lines up correctly up here. Okay, now after you have both of them caught, now you can come in with your screwdriver and you can snug up these screws here. You don't have to make them tight. You're just going to snug them in place like that. And then we'll come over and do the exact same. Now we're just going to snug these screws up here. Or you're not going to make them too tight because you don't want to bend the light fixture itself. So we're just going to snug it in there. And we're going to make sure that this one is snug on this side. And that's it. Now if we did our job correctly, we should be able to turn that light on and have the light work. I guess it helps if we have a light bulb in here. So let me grab a light bulb and we'll come right back. You should have saw the look on my camera girl's face when that light didn't light up. You do need to have a light bulb in there though. So let's put the light bulb in there and let's see if I did the job correctly. If not, I think I'm going to get fired. So let's just screw the bulb in. All right, let's try it again. There we go. All right, so that's it. All right, take your time and just do everything nice and slowly. And the main thing is you don't want to strip off any of the copper wiring when you do strip it out. And that's it, we're all done. All right, so this project is done. We're on to the next one and we'll see what we come up with. All right, as always, thanks for watching. And I'll see you on the next one.